It's Rockipedia with David Miller. Howdy. I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. So, I was listening to my music on my phone. I usually stream stuff from YouTube Music. And I'm not just saying that because I'm on YouTube. No. I like the way the algorithm works. It also takes into account what you watch, I think. So, stuff that I may just, kind of check out online and will every once in a while pop up. And I'll go, oh, cool. Yeah. I also have Amazon and Spotify, and I've tried all the services at one time or another, except for Apple. I hate Apple. Just saying. No one asked, Dave, but... So I was... anyway, I digress, or as my dad used to say, I digest. Dad jokes. Yeah. So anyway... I was listening to my playlist or whatever I happen to have on. I think it was built a station. That's kind of a cool thing you can do in the YouTube Music. You can go in and you can just kind of pick all the artists you like, and it builds a station kind of built around that and then feeds you music. And I was doing that, and a song came up that I hadn't heard in a long time. And that song was Sensible Shoes by David Lee Roth. And it inspired this new little segment I have got called... In Defense of. And today we're going to focus on the album that Sensible Shoes came from. David Lee Roth, A Little Ain't Enough. I just called him David Little Roth. I bet his ego stung just for a second from that because he's David Lee Roth. So David Lee Roth, A Little Ain't Enough, came out in 1991, and it was kind of overshadowed and overlooked and a victim of the times, I think, and a little bit of a victim of Dave. David Lee Roth can be his own worst enemy, as we've discussed on previous episodes with how he took after Wolfgang Van Halen a few weeks ago. Bad form, Dave, I still say. But it does not mean I don't like Dave and his music. So, where was I in 91? I was in Portland. I was doing the hard rock thing. I was in a band at that point, probably a band called Kid Wicked. And we were playing around. We were kind of in the vein of Skid Row. I've actually shown some of us on the program before. So I was doing that, but it was everybody could feel the vibe that form of music, the 80s hard rock, butt rock, hair metal, whatever you want to call it. Had seen its day in the sun and was seeing its way out or being seen its way out, depending on your purview. I think we saw ourselves out the door, myself. But, and David Lee Roth had, he'd done Eat 'Em and Smile, which was huge. That was his first post Van Halen full album. Where he was rocking like Van Halen, but with Billy Sheehan on bass and Steve Vai on guitar and Greg Bissonette on drums. Phenomenal band, ridiculously good album, ridiculously over-the-top, jaw-dropping tour. I got to see that tour. Then he came out with Skyscraper. At that point, he had lost Billy Sheehan, and Steve Vai was on the edge at that point. And that album didn't do as well for me. It did well for him. The songs Skyscraper and This Just Like Paradise, and several of them did real well for him. The album just didn't take for me. And I think at that point I was starting to lose interest in him and that era of music. I was starting to get into heavier stuff. The Skid Row Slave to the Grind album brought me to a heavier place. And then I got into Pantera with Cowboys from Hell and Vulgar Display of Power. And I was getting into that kind of stuff. And I was going back to my earlier Metallica stuff. Slayer I was revisiting. So I was going into a heavier phase. So I wasn't paying much attention to David Lee Roth by the time A Little Ain't Enough came out. And in 91, he wasn't getting a lot of airplay. He wasn't getting a lot of videos. They were not playing his videos much. I did see the video for Sensible Shoes. I remember it, but I had to see it again now to recall it, if that makes any sense. So we're going to take a look at that, but in just a second. But I want to go over some of the details of the album. Now, one of the big things about this album is the guitar player, Jason Becker. Okay, Jason Becker at this point had a solo career that gave him, quite a bit of status, but he had not hit the big time yet. And this was his big break, getting the job with David Lee Roth. Now, Jason Becker got the job with David Lee Roth, and a week later, he found out that he had ALS, or Lou Gehrig's disease. Now, anyone who's dealt with Lou Gehrig's disease or ALS, or knows anyone who has, knows how devastating that can be, especially for an artist. Now, I'm connected to this because I lost my mom about 15 years ago to ALS. And my mom was a musician. She was a bluegrass musician. And one of the first things to happen for her was she lost her ability to play guitar, play fiddle, sing. All those things kind of went away for her in a very slow, grueling process. Jason Becker, he was diagnosed, and within months, his ability to use his hands and stuff started to go away. And in a very short period of time, he was paralyzed from the neck down. So getting the news of ALS wasn't the only kicker. It was how fast it took, because he got the job in David Lee Roth. A week later, he finds out he has ALS, and he goes in and he's able to do the album, but the recording sessions and stuff were delayed. There were problems because of his physical abilities going so quickly, and he couldn't tour. He had to bow out of the band and take care of his health immediately after the album was finished. So unfortunately for Jason, his big break right there, bam, I'm here. I've got this chance to be in the band with the biggest frontman in rock and roll, and here's what happens. That's really a tough blow, a really tough blow. Now, Jason Becker, the incredible thing, so my mom, I had her from the time we got the diagnosis, from the time she took ill to the time she passed was about 5 years. We know that Stephen Hawking survived many years. Jason Becker is still alive. He's still surviving. He's actually still creating music. He's still changing the world with his art, and it's pretty amazing. And he recently released a song that he wrote the music for and then distributed to many of his guitar playing friends, and they've recorded it and filmed a video for it. And I'm going to put the link to that video in the description of this video, so you can check it out yourself. It's worth checking out. I was going to do a little feature on it, but then I decided, you know what? I'm just going to let you guys go discover that one on your own. I will give you the link in the description, so you'll be able to check that out. But I want to focus on what we're doing here, which is talking about David Lee Roth and why I feel like I should have given this a better chance back then, but maybe I just wasn't into it. But this popped up, Sensible Shoes popped up on my playlist, and I enjoyed it so much that I listened to it at least one more time, maybe two, actually. It hit me different, and it inspired this whole segment of In Defense Of. I'll be doing more of these, basically looking at songs or albums or bands or projects that should have been bigger than they were, and why that might have been. And that's what we're going to talk about now with Sensible Shoes. So I've told you a little bit about the album. Also on this album, Steve Hunter, who was in Alice Cooper's band for a while, played some guitar on this. Greg Bissonette and his brother Matt Bissonette are the rhythm section. Bob Rock was the producer on this album. So, it had a stable of people that made it where it should have been much better and much bigger than it was. And I don't think it's because the music's bad. I think Dave turned out a solid third album. But he didn't get the airplay. He didn't get the coverage. And so I want to see if you feel the same way as I do about this. And so we're going to do that by checking out a little bit of Sensible Shoes. All right?
Stingray, I do it my away, got a good job. I'm making lots of money. I look good and I'm funny, so why am I want some honey? The gypsy said the problem with you need some sensible shoes.
See, it's got all of Dave's attitude.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
And it's got his vibe.
Look at this black boy.
The lyrics are cool.
He's loaded with phone
Attitude
numbers,
galore.
potential lovers, new worlds
And I actually think the album, A Little Ain't Enough, is a really good blend of Eat 'Em and Smile and Skyscraper. And this song has both of those albums' vibes in this song, in the context of this song. Because if you go back and listen to something like Ladies Night in Buffalo or Elephant Gun off of Eat 'Em and Smile, and then listen to some of the stuff off Skyscraper, you could see those things being combined and coming up with something like this.
Sensible shoes, 'cause you're the only lover that was sensible shoes.
All right. Jason Becker on guitar. I just like it. The vibe on it is different for me today. I don't know. Well, what about you? Do you like this? Do you think this is looking back now, does this hold up with Dave's first two solo albums? I think it does. So another fun thing about this whole thing is I would like for you to share your, in defense of artists or songs. What's something that you think should have been received a little better than it was? I would love for you to tell me about it. So why don't you email us, rockipediapodcast@gmail.com, or you can go over here and hit us on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. I'd love to see your videos. Send me shorts. Send me your TikTok videos. Talk about us on your socials and tag us. And let's spread this around. I'd love to find out more about what you like and what you're thinking. So if you have an in defense of song, album, artist, concert, something that you feel got a short shift that should have been appreciated more, holler at me or throw something in the comments, or you can even do a post here on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, like, share, ring the bell, do all those things. And we will be doing more of this. And I'll talk to you very, very soon right here on Rockipedia. Thank you. Rockipedia is a Miller Music and Media production.